Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey, what's going on today, guys? This is Chris.
And Roger.
And we're joined by...
Joe. Again, Joe has made his triumphant return to us after a long bashing and a long misstep.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, motherfucker.
So, this is our 7th episode, and in honor of Star Wars Episode 7, which we're way late for, but we want to tip our hat to it.
Flip it the bird.
We've got some things to say. So, after a brief moment of silence here, there's a little bit of unrest going on in the country right now, and we want to take a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives. So, we're going to do that now.
Alright, on to Star Wars. So this episode is going to be nothing but Star Wars, as much as we can try to stay on topic. Episode 7. The Force Sleeps.
Yeah, the Force of Slumber.
It was supposed to recapture the magic, and I think that is my first issue with Star Wars Episode 7.
No, they showed me footage that gave me the nerd boner.
Yes.
This is something that is sought after. It's a sort of high that you get. It's a mix of nostalgia, excitement, the unknown. Like, there is so much that plays into this nerd boner, and they gave it all to us in the previews. And then
we saw the movie. Well, what I was going to say was, we heard critics talk about it recapturing the magic, and I think that is my issue. Stop trying to recapture a movie made in the 70s.
It did not recapture the magic. It remade A New Hope.
That's all it did. It was a carbon copy of A New Hope, done worse, because it didn't have that first time out charm. It actually had a major budget behind it, and it just fell flat.
And everybody loved it, and we're going to get so much hate for this. Joe,
Did you really love it? Are you just one of those Star Wars fanboys that are like, it was better than the prequels, so therefore it's good?
Well, I want to hear what Joe has
like
to say about it, yeah.
Yeah, Joe. No. All right. We'll let you go ahead and talk about how awesome it is.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, sure. I can't rebut with you. It has a lot of similarities to the first one. I'm not going to argue about that because that would be silly. But, A, you had great new characters. B, they were well developed. The script was good. It was well directed. And overall, I thought they did a really good job.
Now, what do you mean by... All right, let's talk about characters that were well developed. Let's start there. Who was your favorite character in this movie?
Kylo Ren.
Actually, yeah, Kylo Ren.
That's a
Kylo
given.
Ren?
Kylo
Ren.
Because Joe's an emo kid.
All right. Fuck you.
I am too. I'm not mad at you.
No, Kylo Ren's my favorite because a lot of times when you get movies like this that are basically a rehash of like a hero's journey, that old-timey tale by author who I can't remember his name, and I feel bad about that, you get a group of protagonists that you're going to watch develop as the story goes, right?
Right.
But you get an antagonist who's basically already developed. And, like, I will cite Darth Vader for that. Like, he was immediately, the moment he walked on screen, the biggest badass in the galaxy.
Fully developed character,
Fully
absolutely.
developed character. We all knew exactly what he was about the moment he stepped on screen.
You don't fuck with Lord Vader.
You don't have that with Kylo Ren. And I really enjoyed that. Like, you're not only getting the protagonist story, but you're getting the character building arc of the antagonist as well. His story is not fully developed. He is in the middle of it. And the movies, like the first one here, and then I'm hoping with the second and third one of this trilogy, we get more and more development of his character as we go.
You know, you say that Vader was fully developed. Do you think, though, that Kylo Ren isn't as developed? Because we saw Vader change in the original trilogy. We saw him go from the biggest badass to a Skywalker whiny bitch by the end of the third movie. My question is, do you think it's going to be reversed, where Kylo Ren's starting off as a Skywalker whiny bitch and will become the ultimate badass by the end of the third movie?
Maybe. I don't know exactly what they have planned with his character. There's a bunch of theories out there. Excuse me. None of which are ones I particularly support for any reason beyond, like, I'm just waiting to see what happens.
See, to me it seemed like, with the new characters especially, with the exception of Kylo Ren, that it was just a reason to get they're like, here's the new characters, here's a small snippet of what they are. And even Rey was kind of like that. It was like, oh, I don't know who my parents are, so we're going to focus on that as opposed to the overarching question of, we finally got the band back together, and that's really what Star Wars fans wanted. They wanted Princess Leia and Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Luke Skywalker back.
Honestly, you could have sent Han, Chewie, and Leia out on a search for Luke, who exiled himself after Han's son fell, and that would have made more sense to me, and I felt like it would have made a better movie.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to jump real quick. How the fuck does Han Solo lose the Millennium Falcon? That doesn't happen.
It doesn't make sense.
No. And we just got, oh, I lost at gambling. No, you didn't. No.
Yeah,
no,
Han
you didn't.
Solo would have shot a motherfucker before he would have, and he would have done it first.
The only...
Before you take the Millennium Falcon from him.
The only other person allowed to fly the Millennium Falcon is Lando Calrissian. That's it.
Those are under very, very, very special circumstances.
Which has got to destroy the second Death Star. Not the third Death Star, but the second one.
Joe? He wants to disagree right now.
No. All right. I'm willing, with suspension of disbelief, as you need for any fantasy story, willing to believe that at some point Han lost the Falcon.
But then he finds it, like, magically. It's like he knew where it was the entire time.
Yeah, it's called a plot point.
Yeah, it's stupid. It was stupid. Like, I can suspend disbelief up to a point, but then all of a sudden the navigation beacon turns on, and while he's hunting these racist monsters...
Well, it hadn't been on in X amount of years.
He should have known where it landed if he cared that much about the damn thing.
It could have been transported on another ship without being on.
Oh, this you just...
It was on the third Death Star. That planet left its orbit for a little bit so that they could go fucking do what they needed to do with the Millennium Falcon in order to make this plot twist happen.
Do you know what could have happened that would have made it better? If they would have said Lando lost the damn thing.
That would have been great.
Like if Han Solo would have found the Millennium Falcon and was looking at you and was like, hey, we're home, and then bitched for like 2 minutes on why he'll never loan the ship to Lando again.
That would have been
I would have
awesome.
accepted it, hands down.
That is
all
so
right,
Han.
It's
That's
Lando's
so
fault.
Han.
That's fair.
But now I feel that Han's a bumbling idiot.
Well, I mean, he got old.
No.
Yeah.
He's still Han Solo.
He still got old. Everybody gets old.
If they don't lose their Falcon,
You know what, though? You got to see Han Solo be a dad.
For one brief moment, yes.
And it was very, very genuine.
Oh, when he screamed Ben, I was like, uh-oh, I'm getting my ass whooped.
Yeah, when he put his dad voice on.
Ben!
And I'm sitting next to my mom who's used that exact same tone and yelled my name across the house. Like, I just went, eh!
I bought that so hard. I was like, yes, that's Han Solo right there. That's his kid. Sold. I'm sold on that. The movie had good points and cool visual effects. My issue with it personally is I did not need to see A New Hope again watered down.
Real quickly though, where was the war? Like, it's called Star Wars, and in the prequels we got the war. We can talk about it being a bullshit war and kind of like World War One. In the second trilogy, we got the wars, rebellion versus the evil empire. And in this movie, there was just, hey, these guys are bad. We're not really at war. Oh shit, they blew up 5 planets in one shot.
Yeah, they set up the war. You weren't already in the
That was
middle
the powder keg effect.
That's the main difference. Like, there's gonna be a war. We saw the beginnings of it this time instead of just jumping in the middle and learning the details later.
I think that was one of the things that was attractive about Star Wars, though, is you were jumping in the war. That's what all that text at the beginning of the movie.
for?
I mean, that's
There's
fair.
fucking war happening right now, and you need to get into it. Ready, set, go.
I mean, and we saw what happened when they tried to set a war up. It was called the prequels, and we know how bad those movies were.
I mean, yeah, let's not talk about them.
We
But
visited
I'm
that
personally-
briefly before.
I'm 100% okay with the idea of us seeing the beginnings of a war because we're going into one now. Because the Senate doesn't exist anymore. That was
Really?
built. That is gone, like literally in every way. So now you just have the First Order and the Resistance. So it's
Is it
going
really-
to be another war.
Can you really call yourself the Resistance if you're in charge? Which they're
They're not.
But they were. They're
not
in charge.
No, they're
No,
not.
they weren't.
They had
No,
the Senate.
they weren't.
The Senate was in charge. The Senate didn't condone the Resistance. The Resistance was doing their own thing. The Senate just stepped back and was like, we have no part in this.
What was the Resistance fighting against? The First Order?
The First Order coming to power because they saw them on that power train, like heading in the direction, and a lot of the old fogies who are part of the Resistance.
A preemptive strike, because we've seen how that works.
Yeah, we have. Good job.
I didn't say it was a good idea. I'm just saying the old fogies who used to be part of the rebellion, who are now part of the Resistance, like,
I swear to
saw
God,
what was coming, went, oh god, it's Empire Part 2,
No.
and tried to be preemptive.
I've heard Star Wars fans outside of Star Wars raging about political things and preemptive strikes. If these motherfuckers are not raging about this preemptive strike after we just brought it to light for them, fuck you guys. Shame on you. Stop being biased.
No, but again, so I want to. Han Solo was really the shining part of Episode 7.
Yeah. I mean, Luke had 4 seconds in the movie.
And he got paid an exuberant amount of money for that.
I would have done the same damn thing if they were like, Chris, come, put on a robe, stand on a hill, look at a girl.
Very creepily look at a girl.
I didn't even care about how he was looking at her.
And here's millions upon millions of dollars for that.
And you get to be in the next couple of movies, or you're gonna die in the next one.
Whatever.
Because that's what happens. 2 mentors in
That is
Star
true.
Wars.
Yeah, I mean, you had that with Qui-Gon Jinn, you had it with Ben Kenobi. Like,
It has to happen.
It's what happens.
I don't think they killed Luke.
But I mean, that's part of how it connotates back to the original hero's journey. Is like a hero rises, is mentored for a moment, mentor dies as part of the
She
character
mentored
arc.
herself in The Force Awakens. Or she was mentored by the Force.
No, she was mentored by Kylo Ren going, you have power and you don't even know it. I can teach you. That was her mentor.
She was fucking winging it before that
Oh,
and
yeah.
doing just fine.
Well, she's had actual fighting experience.
That's what
too.
I'm saying. She was
Like-
mentoring herself. She was living on
Like-
her own.
Yeah.
On the outskirts of this fucking insane society, kicking ass, taking names, living on scraps. Like she was mentoring herself.
It really, to me, seemed like the galaxy didn't get any better after the fall of the Empire.
Fuck no, it didn't.
Of course not, because now you had a bunch of
You have anarchy at that
planets
point.
who had no direct leadership with galaxy-wide, so you had to go rebuild the Senate.
So really, we're okay with the Empire.
Nah.
It depends on
yes
who you
and
are.
no in certain ways.
I mean, let's be honest. From the first 3 movies, we never really got why the Empire was bad. They blew up one planet.
They killed
But hold
millions
on.
of
Time
people.
out. Time out.
No, time out on that. Like, that's not even the Empire either. Like,
No.
you can blame that as a war crime directly on Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, well,
He did that without any sort of authorization.
He blew up a planet.
Look what I can do.
He blew up a planet harboring known terrorists. We don't know what happened before they blew up the planet. We don't know if...
I mean, we do now. We had prequels.
Hold on. Before that, we don't know that they didn't go to Alderaan and say, turn over the rebellion. Turn over the people who aren't going to plan for the rebellion. And for all we know, Alderaan gave them the big middle finger. And they're like, hey, we now have the princess.
Alderaan's princess told them to fuck off.
Yeah. Like, directly, maybe even after that ultimatum came out. So what were they going to do? Lit a planet that is harboring terrorists?
I mean,
destroying
they
Empire
have,
property?
They have Leia on the Death Star, and it's, hey, tell us what we want to know, or we're going to do some bad shit. And she's like, birds to you.
And boom!
Planet blows up.
Hold on. Back up slightly. First off, you don't know that there's terrorists on the planet. Yeah, it's an assumption.
Oh, there's terrorists on that planet.
You have no proof.
Princess Leia!
First off, just because she commits any sort of treasonous act against the Empire doesn't automatically implicate anybody else on the planet. Secondly, you have no knowledge about whether, as a political standpoint...
She's a political figurehead.
I mean, don't get me wrong, she is, but that doesn't mean that she didn't do something on her own and
She
then
prob-
get
there's
disavowed.
There's a good chance that she's got a following.
I mean, I'm sure she does. It's called the Rebellion. But
Okay,
there's-
so she was harboring terrorists. We've established that
We've
just
established
now.
that.
you can't even establish that she was on Alderaan.
She was from Alderaan.
She was from Alderaan.
Just because she was from there doesn't mean she was there
So,
anytime
are
recently.
you going to use the excuse that she went off to Bespin College and got radicalized there?
No, not specifically. I'm just saying, like, with her involvement in the rebellion, you have no idea where she's been.
But
you have,
hold on.
You have no proof that she's been on Alderaan, and you have no idea whether they disavowed or allowed her to do stuff.
We do know...
Like, very easily, her father could have come out while the Senate still existed before it was gone and been like, we don't condone what she's done. She is no longer part of our political system.
Except for the fact that
It was implied that she was
was
very much a part of the system.
holding her is dangerous. She is part of the Galactic Senate, so they obviously didn't disown her. They didn't say that she was no longer a senator.
Well, I mean, she wouldn't have been anyways because they took apart the Senate.
And her,
But you don't know if she was.
This was before
like,
they took
disavowed from that.
This was before
that.
they took apart the Senate, because they took apart the Senate 20 minutes into episode 4. The original scene where fucking Dickwad goes up to Lord Vader and goes, holding her is dangerous. She's blah 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 blah, part of the Senate, da 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 da, and Vader goes, chill the fuck out, I got this.
That's fair.
So, but her father, we saw in episode 3 that her father was like, okay, the Empire's bad. So obviously she was raised in a society, or raised in a household that hated the Empire.
I wouldn't say raised in a household that hated the Empire so much as raised in a household that hated any form of tyranny and was for peace. Organa doesn't seem like the type of person to start any sort of rebellion.
Because they didn't because the rebellion brought how much peace to the galaxy?
My point exactly. Like,
None!
They probably didn't enjoy the rebellion any more than they enjoyed the Empire because all it does is create wartime stuff.
I think, so what I was going to say was, so the rebellion really didn't accomplish anything. The Empire, we're on Team Empire over here.
I'm not even on Team Empire. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
We're on Team Empire, that the Empire was, okay, I mean, we don't know what bad things they did. Now, you have the EU,
European Union?
No, the expanded universe.
We exited that
Yeah,
shit.
that's
a few days ago.
that's falling apart, the EU. But so you have the expanded universe, which is falling apart just like the European Union. Go into more details on how evil the Empire was, which is fine. Once we got to the Empire was bad, you can get on board with the rebellion.
Yep.
But if you look at the first 3 movies, you don't know why the Empire is bad. You're just told. You are flat out told the Empire is bad.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, I think that's the American-esque story there.
You're just told you're bad?
No. We've got this tyrannical government overseeing us. We are these rebellious Americans, so we fight against them and claim our independence.
Except if we found out
That was the 4th of July.
if we find out that some, if Cuba has, because we'll say that Cuba's a good representation of the small rebellion. If Cuba somehow stole military secrets, it was on a little ship on their way back, and this military secret could be damning to the United States to the point of it would actually damage our power in the world.
Oh, we would have just blown it up.
We would have exactly. So the Empire at least tried to save lives there. Capture the ship, get their
Blow
plans
up a
back.
planet, kill billions of people. I said millions before.
I'm
billions, because we know how many people fit on a planet.
We don't know how many people were on Alderaan when it was blown up.
I am going to disagree with you about the saving lives thing. I think the only reason they didn't take out the ship was because Princess Leia makes a real good political prisoner.
She does for the whole 5 minutes that the Empire could happen to keep her.
I mean, that's fair.
Which proves how effective they are at everything. I mean, within an hour, there's a bumbling farm boy, a smuggler, and a Wookiee walking around your secret installation saving a princess.
Because they're fucking
At least
great.
episode 7, they had to have a stormtrooper sneak them in. I mean, that made more sense.
Well, I think that was just based on overconfidence. Like, them being too overconfident in this super weapon and their own security to not worry about it hard enough.
Stupid Empire.
But, I mean, this is also an empire that's run by a lot of military figureheads at this point, as you saw in that conference room, who don't even believe in the Force, which was super relevant, like, 20 years beforehand. Most of them were alive
hold on.
while the Jedi Council was still a fucking
Here's what
thing.
we saw.
I mean, we've got an old man there, whatever that fucking captain's name is.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin. I'm so sorry for not knowing that off the top of my head.
Chris, you're disowned.
We've got Grand Moff Tarkin, who clearly has witnessed Force events. Everybody there should absolutely know, and that was about 30 years, is what Lucas said going into it.
Well, he lied.
Fuck him.
Because
No,
Luke was
he's-
19. It's been 19 years since the end of the prequels.
Okay,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, the oldest I've ever heard him called in A New Hope was 23, so still only 20-ish years.
Okay, so this old dude should for fucking sure know.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, this is a very real thing, this Force. And I'd be telling the motherfuckers that are under me, hey guys, this Lord Vader guy, he gets all pissy. He likes to choke you with the Force. This Emperor guy likes to shoot lightning at motherfuckers. It's the Force. One time there were Jedi. They would push people around with the Force. I've seen it all.
I can understand a lot of the low-level guys not knowing, though.
Well, I mean, yeah,
just
the
because
guys that are 20 years old and they're like, there's no fucking Jedi, and I never see Darth Vader.
Well, I mean,
That'd be
not
like telling
even,
us that there used to be bebop people in the 1950s.
not
Like,
even.
we don't believe that Grease ever really happened.
I do.
Wow.
Well, see, not even because of that, but at that point, it's because of
But that's, I mean, the 50s
political
was
handling of
long ago.
under education to keep the masses stupid because they're easier to control.
Uh-oh.
What? Are you talking about the Empire's education system, which we never saw in the movies one way or another?
I mean, there has to be one.
But we never saw it.
Yeah.
Much like they're actually, like you guys brought up the military council that we saw on the Death Star. That's just the Empire's military side. Like, you know that in real life that the military gets together and they talk about stuff without politicians being involved. Like, that's what they do.
That's fair.
So we never saw what the Empire's political system was. We never saw how they actually...
We do know what
There's
the
an
Empire's...
emperor.
That's it for the political
That's
system.
what we saw, but we don't know how he handles things. We saw him show up to...
With an iron
Look,
fist.
he showed up in Return of the Jedi to look at his new super weapon, which is the same thing as a president christening a battleship.
No. It's the same thing as a president christening a nuke.
Same thing. Same thing. It's okay. We never saw the political system. We just assumed the Empire is bad because Lucas
It's
told
the
us so.
emperor. He is the political
That's fair.
system.
Now, at least we can say that the First Order, or whatever the fuck they're called now, we know they're bad. They shot 5 planets just because they felt like it. Like, they're like, hey, guess what? We're going to destroy 5 planets because we want to.
Ready, set, go.
Boom.
See, I don't think it was based on that.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Are you a First Order apologizer?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure.
He
No.
empathizes with them.
I mean, he likes...
Empathizes, I'm
he-
sorry.
he
empathizes.
likes
get
Kylo
in-
Ren.
We can get into a whole lot of reasons of things I'm okay with about all the groups, but we'll come back to that. The motivation there was, in my opinion, very obvious. Of
We need
ever
to kill
since-
motherfuckers.
ever since the Empire went down, the galaxy went into disarray. They got a joke of a Senate going on, which you can read about now.
You hold on. We are talking strictly film here. Leave reading about out of it. Like that is
I'd
your
like
challenge.
to think that our
the
listeners
common,
are
the
just
common
a
person
little
that
smarter
goes and
than
sees
that.
this movie, which everybody on the fucking planet has,
Except my wife.
except his wife, has gone to see this motherfucking movie. Not all these people read literature based on this movie.
Well, then
So-
what's wrong with me educating them?
Well, no, hold on. Because for this conversation, we're looking at just the films in whole, which is
Okay.
why when we talked about the actual first trilogy, all we talked about was the 3 movies, because everything else came out after. So let's talk about just the movie,
Okay.
as its whole.
Fine. From details only in the movie, I think it was much more than, like, let's just blow up some planets. Like, they saw the current Senate, which wasn't that good anyways.
Based on...
Based on the fact that Rey was living in poverty.
Based on the
She
fact
was
that,
on
like,
the outskirts of... Like, she was...
well, you can tell, like,
Because tattooing is not... That's always been on the outskirts of society.
well, that wasn't Tatooine, but
Oh, I thought she was on tattooing.
No,
because
she
it
was on
looks,
some other-
It looks just like it.
She was on Tatooine 2.0. It only
Sorry.
had one son.
Sorry, I thought this was A New Hope, guys. My bad.
anyways, you have a government that's obviously not doing a very good job, and like systems that are fully independent now and don't want to be. It's the separatist movement all over again without having to have the movement.
The separatists
because
were
everything
put in
was
place by Palpatine, though. But go
well,
on.
yeah, but everything's already separate
And they were
now.
actually put in place by Plagueis, but that's extended universe, not relevant here.
Anyways, so they're all separate, wanting to do their own thing, and they're all trying to get their own foothold in the Senate if they go at all. And the Senate's doing a bad job of putting everybody together. I got that feeling just from watching the movie.
I didn't.
I did.
I got the feeling that they wanted to
and-
show cool special effects.
I got the
And-
feeling that they were like, hey, we got a gooder Death Star that can blow up more planets.
And-
Watch this.
And like I got the feeling like the basic motivation behind the First Order is the fact that they see the galaxy as disarrayed since the fall of the Empire, so they're just trying to put everything back together.
So they're the good guys.
Well, in a manner of speaking, like
They are the rebellion of the first movie.
Honestly, it reminds me.
This just got deep. So Kylo Ren is actually Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is actually playing Lord Vader. Or no, he's playing the Emperor, okay? And then we've got Ren, or not Ren,
Rey.
Rey, yeah. Daisy is actually Darth Vader in this. So they just took everything, flipped it, reskinned it.
Hey, now I'm actually okay with this movie.
The Millennium Falcon's still there. Boom.
We're good.
Anyways, my point.
Joe does not buy into this.
No, my point being that they see it as a galaxy in disarray, and they're trying to put it back in order. And honestly, it reminds me so much of the first Emperor of China. Like, you had a bunch of provinces, and one guy was just like, "Nope, no more," and put the whole country together.
God Emperor of everyone.
That's fair. But during his time, like, a lot of the provinces saw him as a terrifying tyrant. But all he was doing was uniting the country. Like, that's how I see the First Order.
All he was doing was proclaiming himself the God Emperor
of
everybody.
It wasn't just that. He wanted to unite the country so there wasn't so much fighting anymore. Because they were already being assailed from outside forces.
But
they needed to come together as one fist. Kind of situation.
And have a God Emperor.
Well, I mean, everybody gets a little big for their britches once in a while.
How does the New Republic allow this to happen? I mean, we hear that they have an amazing fleet that gets destroyed in one shot. How do they allow Snoke to get to this point?
Because they're not unified. They're too busy trying to unify very softly all the planets.
So they're...
Whereas the First Order is just like, fuck it, we're going to make you.
So let me get this straight. So what it boils down to is you have someone saying, hey, you can either do your own thing or you can join us. And then you have someone saying you are going to join us.
See, they don't want you to do your own thing, though. They still want you to join. They just didn't want to have to use force to do it.
That's fine. There's a lot of things I want that I don't want to use force to do. But if I don't get it, I don't get it.
That's fine.
I mean, how many times have we wanted, Paraguay to join the United States or whatever?
So, I mean, like...
Never.
I just see the First Order as a different type of government trying to establish itself in a time when there is no, like, full-on official government.
But there is.
There isn't. The New Republic's not that official.
How about this?
Most of the galaxy isn't even a part of it.
How about this? You just let people be themselves. Fuck the New Republic. Fuck the First Order.
Yeah,
just
you
let them
do not
themselves.
need a galactic empire, republic, senate. Let the planets govern themselves.
Or bring the Jedis back.
I mean,
they did such a good job for thousands of years.
No. No, they didn't. But
Joe's not a Jedi sympathizer.
No, he hates the Jedi.
I don't hate them.
They
I just
kidnap
super
children.
disagree with them on a lot of things. But the way I look at it as, like, the idea of each planet doing its own individual thing sounds cool, right up until you look at it like this. Imagine each planet as a country on our planet.
All right.
Right? We constantly go over to war on bullshit. But if you unify the entire planet behind one force, you end up with the Federation from Star Trek. And that was a good thing.
Except
if you can unify the galaxy like that.
But hold on. The Federation doesn't go into a planet and say, "Hey, join us," and the planet says no. They don't sit there and try to sweeten the deal. They go, "Okay, you don't want to join us? We move on."
I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm not saying the methods are exactly
We'll blow
the same.
you up with our
I'm
Death
just saying,
Star.
like, it's the difference between having separatist countries that do their own thing and go to war with each other once in a while over petty bullshit, as opposed to having a one world, in this case one galaxy government, for the betterment of all.
Yeah, with a supreme emperor. God Emperor.
Eventually, you would hope that it would fall away from that. Like, I'm not saying there aren't problems with it. Like, there is going to be problems with it. The Empire could have been a whole lot fucking better if it wasn't
If
for
he wouldn't have disbanded the Galactic Senate that was already established and working with a level of success.
If Palpatine hadn't been a murderous cunt, like, the system would have been a lot better, and a lot of people would have been a lot better.
You just thought an astonishing acquisition. How many people did we actually see Palpatine murder in the movies?
Physically, very few.
Zero. Who did he murder?
Okay, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, prequels. I
Okay.
forgot about prequels. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Execute Order 66.
That's conspiracy murder right there.
Yeah, he killed a lot of motherfuckers.
Like,
A lot of Jedi.
He physically only has his hands dipped in one that we ever saw. If you include some of the
Now,
new books and
attempted
comics,
murder-
a couple others. But you can throw a bunch of attempted murder charges at him and conspiracy murder at him like a motherfucker. Like,
That's
he is
true.
responsible for so much
To
death.
be fair, I made that statement forgetting about the prequels because that's the type of Star Wars fan I am.
the what quills?
when you were like Order 668 or whatever, I was like, oh fuck, the prequels. That happened.
Order 66.
Order 66, yeah.
Order Satan.
Yeah, that prequel did happen. And
Yeah.
he did kill
And
a
that
lot
is
of
canon.
fuckers. Yeah.
He did. No,
Yeah.
he was a dick.
Yeah.
But he didn't kill younglings.
No, he told Anakin to.
Anakin killed the younglings.
He told this motherfucker. Okay, in our government, you can actually, if you put the idea to kill somebody in somebody else's head, you are you're part of that murder, and you get fucking tried for it.
They're both just as culpable. Because that is a conspiracy murder charge.
Look.
Telling somebody to go kill somebody. And then him doing it is an actual murder
And you
charge.
got to see that cute little kid go, oh no.
We're being overrun, Master Anakin.
Like, what the fuck? You think, though, that the Jedi
You know what though?
would have had a plan
You-
to save the younglings?
You know how fucking pissed we've been at George Lucas for not being a badass, and then he makes that shit happen in that movie.
Yeah, he killed more children in the movie
Than
than
any motherfucker.
yeah.
he
that
was
was-
like, how many kids are we gonna kill? All of them.
That was like Lord of the Flies shit.
I
going
mean,
on
if
there.
you didn't know that was going to happen going into the prequels, you were a fool. Because you knew going into the prequels that the Jedi didn't exist.
Yeah,
So
these-
the moment you saw
So
kids,
these
you
fucking-
knew they were all going
These
to die.
kids, like, I could have been left under the assumption that their training stopped. These motherfuckers just left. They
But
were gone.
We already
living
knew
in
that
hiding.
wasn't the case. We already knew going in.
No, I mean I just wanted the
we
kids
knew
to live.
we knew going in that the Jedi were eradicated.
George
so if you
Lucas
didn't
ballsed up there.
automatically,
George Lucas ballsed up.
if you
You
didn't
know what?
automatically,
Nobody gets to be mad at him for that.
no, absolutely
So
not.
the next time somebody bitches about a prequel and is like, blah blah blah, George Lucas didn't have the balls to make Han shoot first. He had the balls to kill a bunch of fucking kids,
This is true.
a bunch of them,
like not just one.
and he had
There was a good 30
he
kids
had
in
the
that room.
savior do it. He
Yeah.
had the Jesus Christ of their universe kill all these kids.
And you actually
See, I
saw
still
it.
maintain that Anakin did exactly as the prophecy predicted.
He did
No,
bring balance to the
he
Force.
restored balance to the
Yeah,
Force.
absolutely.
There
because-
was 2 Jedis and a
Well,
Sith Lord. And a
No,
Sith
like
leader.
seriously though, it wasn't balanced. Jedi had they were meddling in galactic affairs.
Which they
Yeah.
shouldn't have
They
been.
they were the police of the Senate.
Which they shouldn't have
No,
been.
they
no,
should not
that's
have been.
just as bad as the Templars and the Inquisition.
The
It's
Jedi
a
should be the
terrifying
Buddhist
idea.
monks.
Yeah,
They should be Buddhist monks preaching the whole thing
Right.
about peace, love, and lightsaber fights.
they are a religion, and then they became a
They were like the Crusades. It was the
nightly
Crusades.
cult that would abduct children and completely wipe their brain into
Brainwash
their way,
them.
their thinking.
And the Sith do the same thing, but you can be in your mid-20s and the Sith will pick you up. They're like, "Fuck it,
You
I
mean-
sense the Force in you.
At least
You
the
can
Sith.
do my bidding."
At least the Sith allow you 2 things. 1, you don't have to be a robot, and 2, going into it, you know the probability of
You
you
do
dying
have to
is
be a
pretty
robot.
fucking good.
It's basically when you're a Sith, you are going to have robotic parts put on you because your body is going to be mutilated.
Well, what I mean is, like, you're still allowed to feel emotion.
Yeah, pissed off.
Jedi want you to be
Hold on.
shitty version of Vulcans.
Hold on. We're backing away from episode 7 because I want to talk about racist monsters.
That's true.
Racist monsters.
Okay.
All right, so Han Solo captures these monsters, right? And the first thing we hear is they will eat you
Yeah.
unless you're dark meat.
I don't remember that line, honestly.
I don't either, but that's what we saw as they take Finn throughout the whole thing. Finn's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They drag him
They
around.
drag
the
him
ship.
around the whole ship, but they don't eat him. But they eat the other 2 guys.
That's called a plot point, Roger. You're
Ah,
a racist.
I'm a racist.
I mean, maybe that one was full from munching on 3 other motherfuckers and was going to save him for
Yeah,
later.
it was a ball, so like it didn't have much room for a stomach. It was probably
It was a
saving
ball
him-
that was a 3rd teeth.
So it was probably saving him for later. It was like, I'm going to take you to my den,
Like a spider.
make love to you, then I'm
Like
going
a
to eat
hentai
you.
tentacle monster.
Like a hentai tentacle
He
monster.
just doesn't like the black meat. That's what it boils down to.
Wow.
There was 3 of them. Not just 1. 3.
Yeah, one of them grabbed him. Not 3 of them.
Right, one of them grabbed him.
They
and
didn't
eat
grab him and they were like, hey, we're going to not eat this one. Roger,
But this-
let's not go there.
Oh no, I went there. The cat's out of the bag. I'm just saying, if you're going to make the threat that these monsters are going to eat people sight unseen, then they're going to eat everybody.
Yeah, maybe they would have thrown up their last meal so that they could eat the
Like
next
a
person.
snake? Maybe?
Snakes
I saw
don't often
Anaconda.
throw up.
I saw Anaconda. They
That's-
threw up John Voight so they can eat Jennifer Lopez.
That's not normal.
That's what they did.
I have snakes.
I know.
Mine never throw up.
I look at them. Your spider did, though.
My spider didn't throw
Oh, no,
up.
he pooped on people.
He would shit on people.
Yeah.
That was Ben. Peter wouldn't do that. Peter would flick hairs if you made him mad.
So, Han Solo captures these beasts.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we've got like 10 minutes left and we haven't even touched the actual movie. So he finds these beasts and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm going to take this girl to Leia, which they're
My
estranged.
estranged wife.
They're estranged now that he hasn't like talked to her.
Right.
And however long it's been.
It had to have been years at that point. Because their kid was a total prick, running rampant, fucking everything up.
And do you think Han Solo's the type of guy that honestly, even after Jedi, would let his son go off to Uncle Luke and become a Jedi without any concern of like, hey, wait a minute, your family does not really have a good track history of Jedis right now.
I
you're
don't
bad
think Han Solo knew the family history.
Well, then Leia's a bitch.
I don't think Leia knew her family history. They
Then
were both
Luke's a
fucking
dick.
orphaned.
Then Luke's a dick for not telling. They found out the family history. Vader's the father. Leia's the sister.
They found out that we're brother and sister. Dad's a dick.
Right.
It's not like fucking Vader had some heart-to-heart with him and was like, hey, guess what? I married your mom in the prequels. We did it in secret because it was a no-no, because I was a Jedi at the time. Then I thought she was going to die. I needed to be able to save her, so I went with this Palpatine guy. Now you're basically caught up. I had to kill a bunch of kids. I made the hard call there. Obi-Wan Kenobi fucked me up. Your mentor that you knew for 27 minutes
and lied to you.
fucked my day up. And here we are. I just want to be... let's do this together, buddy.
Well, hold on.
No, I'm gonna have to agree with Roger that like there's definitely some secret information going around. Like, yeah, I will agree they probably didn't know much. There's no way they could have, but they definitely kept things hidden from people. I mean, how else do you think Kylo Ren ended up being so bad? They probably kept the Darth Vader is your grandfather information hella secret from him.
I doubt it.
And
I'll
he
bet.
found out the
I'll bet
wrong
Luke
way.
was like, your grandfather. He was tempted by the dark side of the Force.
I went dark side for 5 minutes and I came back. See, it's okay. That's what Luke's... No, but you think Han Solo would be like, look, I really don't know if I want my boy, my only boy, because that's what we know for right now. That
Han
doesn't always
Solo's
sound-
fucking reckless. He was probably like, Luke's a good guy. Fuck it. Go have fun. Play with your uncle.
I could very easily see
He'll make you a laser sword.
Leia and Luke convincing.
I think
Han.
that right there is the reason they're no longer together. Well, it was not because Ben turned dark. It's because it was the ultimate "I told you so" moment for Han Solo.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with
and
that.
Leia can't admit that she was wrong.
Shit. Ben just pulled a dad.
Right, you know, I mean,
No,
like
and then
Han
she
Solo.
does the shifting blame thing, bring back like go bring your son home.
No, here's
like
how-
bitch, you're the one that fucked up.
You told him to go with that crazy brother of yours who met with a fucking extremist.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, here's how Han Solo found out. He comes home. She's made his favorite dinner. She's all dressed all nice and pretty, and she sits him down with a nice cold beer, and she goes, "Honey, I gotta tell you something.
Our son murdered like 12 people.
Our
and
son is no
disappeared,
longer on the light side.
and,
He's the dark side."
And Luke ran away.
And then Han Solo, being Han Solo, takes a drink of beer, sets it down, cracks his neck, and goes, "I told you so."
No, he didn't. He was like, I'm gonna go get Ben. Where's the Millennium Falcon?
You want it to Lando? You gave Lando the Falcon? Damn it! I'll never see it again.
That part's gonna be so loud for people.
So then he goes and finds the Falcon, and he's like, all right, I guess it's time to bring old Benny boy
I
home.
got step one. It took him 30 years to get step one done, which was find the Falcon. Then he goes to get Ben, and then Ben stabs him.
Ben offs him. He's like, fuck you, daddy. Ugh.
See, I have a theory about that scene.
I do too, and I think it's the same theory.
Shoot.
All right. So as I said much earlier in this episode, part of the reason I like Kylo Ren is because we're getting
wanna kill your
his
dad?
like full arc
Okay.
instead of just having a complete character already that we're jumping into, right? And his full arc is like him being tempted to not be on the dark side, which I really like that they touched on that, by the way, that the dark side isn't the only temptation, it works the other way around as well.
Well, we
That's
saw that with
balance.
Vader.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I'm
did.
not disagreeing with that,
Vader
but
came
it's
back.
nice to have that again in a much bigger way, in my opinion. But you know, you have that whole scene with them where Han puts on his dad voice, and
Best
Kylo,
scene in the whole movie, by the
Kylo
way.
breaks
Yeah.
down for a moment.
This literally
and,
is the best scene of the whole movie.
and tells him, "I need help." Right? I don't think Kylo is asking for any particular help in that. He needed help, and Han assessed the situation real fast. And in my opinion, like, he assessed the situation as like, my kid's gonna get murdered if he doesn't do something. Like, the First Order, Snoke in particular, will fucking hunt this asshole down.
See, I don't even think he's thinking my kid's gonna get murdered. When you have a kid, and this is coming from a parent here, and your kid is doing something wrong, you're like, dude, I just want you to do the right thing. Like, I'm not perfect. I've done some bad shit. You've done some bad shit. You don't have to keep doing bad shit. And,
Right.
like, I felt like that is what made that actual moment in this movie organic.
That's fair. But I mean, like, my theory with it is that, like, he was gonna hand over his lightsaber to Han, and Han turned it on himself.
That's my theory, that Han actually hit the button.
I feel almost certain that Han turned it on himself for two reasons. One, because then Kylo didn't technically do it. He doesn't fully go down that dark path. Much easier to redeem himself later.
Han knowing full good and well that his best friend, who is gonna probably light that little motherfucker up.
The best
after
friend that
seeing
he's
him.
already pissed off at, yeah, like, I don't think he was worried about that.
Yeah, he's not really worried about
And
Luke.
secondly,
I'm
now
like-
he thinks, like, hey, at least when he redeems himself, he's already on the inside. Like, Snoke is gonna full on trust his ass from here
Like,
on out.
Behind the scenes, I know that Harrison Ford...
And I mean, like, honestly,
Harrison
a
Ford
big-
has wanted him to die since
Episode
the original trilogy.
6.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's
that's
like, you
why
have to
you
kill
had the
Han.
frozen and carbonite thing, because they didn't know that if they'd convince him to come back for Jedi.
Right, and they
But-
wanted them to die.
But I digress. Like, I further point, like, to my theory about that. Like, when Kylo is fighting Rey, like, I think he's testing her, because personally, just to get a feel based on the fact she's already shown Force powers. And then that whole thing about you need a teacher, like, I don't think he was trying to say himself or Snoke. Like, I was thinking that was his way of trying to tell her, like, go find Luke. Go find Luke and get some proper fucking training.
Nah, I think the only reason she walked away from that fight is he was holding his guts in.
He was holding his guts in after the man throwing gun shot him in the belly.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to punch himself in the stomach just to prove, hey, I'm not as big of a bitch as everybody thinks.
Right, well, no, and he
You know-
was a badass.
You know what my favorite part about that? Well, okay. Two of my favorite three. All right. Three. No more than three. Three favorite parts about that lightsaber fight. One, when it started, when Finn ignited Luke's old lightsaber,
God.
there was a dude behind me in the audience that screamed, "Kick his ass!" And I just went, yeah, I'm pretty sure Kylo's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah,
Well,
And
yeah.
right.
appropriately. My second favorite part about both of those fights in that scene is they're super organic. Like, you can see Kylo knows what he's fucking doing. You can see Finn barely has a hold on what he's doing. Like, yeah, he's had that riot gear training.
He's
We've
had
already
fucking,
learned
he's
that.
had rifle
But this-
training.
No, he's had that riot gear training.
Oh, yeah, I
we
guess
already
that's
knew
fair, yeah.
about that. So, like, he has a bit of an idea, but this is a completely different weapon.
Well, no, you're talking
And-
somebody that can fence against somebody
right.
that wasn't trained in fencing.
That
And,
watched
I mean-
the Highlander movie.
And a
Exactly,
big
exactly.
part about it too is, like, the riot gear has weight to it. Lightsabers don't.
There's none. It's a
Yeah.
handle.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
So
all
I
it
mean,
is.
like, you can definitely see the whole time, like, he's just doing the best he can to not get punched in the face.
To not get dead.
Exactly.
Become
And then
a shish kebab.
and those both of the fights were super organic. Like they felt real. They weren't overly flashy. They reminded me so much of the fight in Empire, where
Well, they
you
did
can
The
just,
best fight.
They did.
where you
They
can
did
just get
bring
the
back.
feel.
They did
And-
bring back
and
the,
they showed that with
the organic fight there.
with Rey's fighting style too. Like she's got a lot of jabs and pokes, which makes super sense because she's used to fighting with a staff.
Yeah.
Like she's doing a much better job because she has actual fighting experience, but she's not used to this weapon. Still a little on edge, backing off mostly on defense because Kylo's style super aggressive.
Well, I mean, my biggest issue with that fight, I do think, like, granted, Kylo Ren's holding his entrails in. Okay,
Yeah.
I can accept that. That being said, this being that is super well versed in the Force, he's a badass. He's a Skywalker. He should absolutely shit on her in this lightsaber fight. It is a weapon that she's unfamiliar with. Granted, she does have weapon training. You're talking about somebody that is a world, like, in this world, he'd be a world-class fencer.
See, that's part of my theory. Like
The-
part
why-
of
why
why
do
I
you
believe
think- I gotcha.
him telling Rey to go find Luke is because I don't think he was trying to kill her.
No,
I don't think he was trying to hurt her. I legitimately think he was just testing her to see where she's at.
That's what I took from it. Now, he should have killed Finn.
Like
He should have absolutely.
He
killed
should have
Finn.
killed
honestly,
Finn.
he probably
Absolutely.
thought he did.
Like
He probably thought he cut deeper than he did.
Like, Finn
but I'm
should've
gonna
been
blame
dead.
A, him being injured, and B, his lightsaber not being the best quality.
Because it's got the
Lightsaber-
cracked crystal.
Exactly. Like
Wait.
I'm gonna blame those two factors, and the fact are the only reason Finn isn't dead.
So, real quickly before we end this episode, I think we all three here can agree on one thing with episode 7. The coolest scene in the entire movie was freezing that blaster bolt in the beginning
That
of the
was
movie.
That was really cool.
aesthetically pleasing scene. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best scene in the movie: Han talking to Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah, well okay, that was the
Yeah, that's
that's
makes
the
me
most
cry.
feeling scene.
That gives you the feels. No,
Yeah.
like that was.
It's so organic, and
It-
I knew it was coming, and
It was
still
perfect.
fucking hurts
It was
every time.
perfect. It was
Yeah.
perfect. That's what they got right. Yeah, a couple cool visual effects. It's fucking 2016.
Right.
You should have good visual effects.
Should.
And you are the highest budget franchise on the planet. You're owned by Disney. You have all the money in the world. Duh, you can make good visual
Well,
effects.
then now let's actually focus on making a better story.
We'll see what happens with 8.
Yeah, we'll
Guys.
see.
But honestly, the thing that sucks the worst for me about the scene with Han and Kylo there is, like, I've seen bits and pieces of fan art people have made.
Yeah.
And one that hit way too hard because I saw it like 5 hours after I saw the movie. I don't know how this dude drew it this fast because it was real well done. But it was like Han Solo introducing Baby Ben
Yeah,
to Chewie, and Baby Ben looking a little scared and being like, "It's okay, Chewie will never hurt you." And then it flips to the scene and Chewie shoots him in the chest.
yeah,
I
like,
shot
ugh!
that motherfucker in the chest too.
yeah. I would have too.
I mean, I don't blame him, but
Because
God, that hurt too much.
Look,
to at.
look at the angle Chewie's looking at. Best friend shot.
I owe him.
It's
I
on.
owe
Not even-
him a life debt.
Yeah, not even best
Done.
friend, like best friend
That-
plus
that's-
life.
that's
debt.
a brother.
Like I'm
That's a
supposed
brother
to
at
die
that
for
point.
this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he just got killed.
Yeah, it's on. Fuck you. Fuck your couch.
No, I would not be surprised if within the next 2 movies we see Chewie die, trying to avenge
I
Han's
wouldn't
death.
either.
On that note, we do have to cut it short here.
Hey, make sure you guys like us on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, and check out our website. It's up and coming. I mean, I'm Roger Moss.
Chris Parsons,
Joe Moore.
Thank you for listening.
tuning in. So, Joe, how'd you feel about last week's episode?
Well, I mean, I started sharpening a really big knife in my kitchen and picking out a place to put Roger's testicles.
I will be honest. Like this whole time, he's sitting next to me, and like I keep looking over to see if he's gonna shank me. It's okay. You can be a new nerd.
No,
we still love you.
As I already told you guys, but just for the fun with anyone who listens, I was in a room with friends playing Munchkin, listening to that episode right after you put it up, and
Right after we
legitimately,
put that shit up.
legitimately within 2 minutes of you guys putting it up, like we made like a pretend speaker out of a Solo cup and put my phone.
Was
in
it a red Solo cup?
It was a blue one.
Ooh,
Blue Solo.
Only blue Solo cups in my house.
For blue lightsabers because you're a Jedi.
No. but like everything either one of you predicted I was going to do like happened moments before you said it, which was just setting everybody else off in the room, and the only thing I could say after it was, damn, I've become predictable.
You know, there was a lot in that episode that I was like, I was raging hard.
I absolutely understand.
It was
especially like the pseudo hipster and his
oh my
girlfriend
god,
and
let's not even
emos.
talk about that. No,
We won't get into it.
I'm not.
We can't.
I'm right there with you, Roger. Fuck those people.